Welcome to Unity of Church of Missoula, everybody, those of you on the Zoom and those of you here. It's always a great pleasure to be here and be able to speak with you. And most times I come to speak and I have a real clear idea what I want to say and how I'm going to say it. I know exactly what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that the immensity of God's love for us is beyond our imaginations. But I don't know how I'm going to get there. So if nothing else, that's my message today. That the immensity of God's love is with us all the time, and it is beyond anything that we can truly imagine. I, like Sharon Silberman, had the experience of, love, nothing to it. We all know what love is. And then when you sit down and you start thinking about love and reading what we know about love and things, and you start wondering if you do know. And I was reminded of a very dear friend of mine, Ian Philip White, once told me, Roger, we can learn about love at least two ways. We can learn about love by being loved, or we can learn about love by not being loved. I did not like that answer. And it's really hard to imagine that we can learn anything by not having it, but we truly do. In our lives, our first experience of an all-powerful being is our parents. These people that bring us into this world, into the physical world anyway. And they can love us or they cannot love us. And that's really kind of a scary thought. That somehow, as a child, we're not worthy of our parents' love. But that message gets sent sometimes by churches, by saying, what's in the Lutheran, it's page 58, I think it says something like, I am so unworthy of. Sometimes it's schools who tell you you're not quite smart enough. Sometimes it's your friends who just don't think you're cute enough or tall enough or strong enough or bright enough. And you end up not being enough. You're not enough to be loved, not enough to be cared for. And then there are the other people who just love us. And they love us unconditionally, and we know it. For me, that was my older sister, my sister Sammy Jo. A lady who struggles in most parts of her life, who has had a difficult life, but never in my life, never in the entire time I've been alive, did I know that anybody loved me more than she did. And it's caused a big rift between my younger brother and I because he wanted to make her bad in one situation, and I couldn't do it. He was absolutely right. She had done exactly what he had said she had done. But I could not admit it because I would have to admit the one person in my life that loved me had done something wrong. And I could not do that. It was too scary to think that this person who loved me so completely might not really love me as much as I thought she did. But I think that's the nature of this thing, this nature of being alive in our bodies, being physical human beings. And then we talk about God's love, and we can't grasp it. We can't quite get a hold of the idea that there is only one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. That's a big statement. And it's hard to take, it's been very hard for me to take that in especially in this last few months when I've been trying to prepare for this talk. It's been just really hard. And I've tried to think about it. And I've read lots of things. I read several things in Lessons in Truth, which I find is a great comfort to me, because it has all these wonderful things that it talks about in here in terms of unity and their unity beliefs. This is what Emily Cady says about God and love. It says, "This does not mean God is a stern autocrat who by reason of supreme power compels man to bow to him. It is rather an expression of order, of the divine law, the law of all love, all good. Man who is at first living in the selfish animal part of himself will grow through various stages and by various processes to divine or spiritual understanding, wherein he knows he is one with the Father or Mother, and therefore he is free from all suffering because he has conscious dominion over all things. Somewhere on this journey, the human consciousness or intellect comes to a place where it gladly bows to the spiritual self and confesses that the spiritual self, its Christ, its highest, is the Lord, here and forever after, not with sense of bondage, but rather joyful freedom. The heart cries out, Jehovah reigneth. Everybody must sooner or later come to this spiritual point of experience." I really like the idea that Emily Cady qualified that we are not here in bondage to God, that we're here as an expression of that love in its totality, that we are truly expressions of the divine. Here are a couple other things that she says about love and God. God is not a being or person having life, intelligence, love, power. God is the invisible, intangible, but very real something we call life. God is perfect love, infinite power. God is total in the total of these, the total of good, whether manifest or unexpressed. One other quote here says, "God is love. We cannot see love nor grasp any comprehension of what love is, except as love is clothed in this form, in our human parts." So we know what the love of a mother and a father are, and so forth. But those are only expressions of the true love that God is. God is love. We are loving because God is in us. We express our love and our lovingness, express the God in us in that thing that is there. It's hard. That's a huge, huge step to go from being able to see you all in here and you on the screen down here and know that we love one another, that we care for one another in varying degrees. I'm sorry, I love my wife a lot more than I love you guys. It's okay, isn't it? Yeah. She thinks it is. She tells me that every day. But at the same time, I do love you guys. I love what I've grown to in this church. I love the fact that I see you all as beautiful human beings, worthy of the profound love that God is. And the enormity of that, I wish I had words. My wife bought a bunch of CDs called Love Songs of the 60s, about a month ago or so. And I was so excited because I thought I would be able to come in here and just give you line after line after line from these love songs expressing what love was. Unfortunately, they were mostly just a bunch of codependent, I'm sorry you left me, I wish you were here, oh, please come back. So that was a bust. But that's still, again, looking for that enormity that I know exists. That thing that God is. One of the things that Charles Fillmore wrote, and I wish I could tell you which book it was in because I wrote it down and I didn't write down, I didn't cite the place on my piece of paper, so I don't know where it's from. Oh, hang on, that's not it. This is it. The deep sleep in which the intellect is plunged when true love is experienced still prevails in human relations. Love is the great mystery of life. The spiritually wise see love as the great force that enfolds with mathematical precision the galaxies in space as well as the tiniest of atoms. He goes on. This is really cool. He says, science calls this gravity. Science calls this immense love that I'm wanting to talk about as gravity. The thing that holds atoms together. The things that keeps our solar system going around the sun. The thing that keeps us in our spot in the Milky Way galaxy. The thing that keeps galaxies moving in the universe with precision that you can send a space probe out to Mars, shooting it backwards, flying around some planet, jetting it off to Mars, to come across it and drop a probe down on it. With that kind of mathematical precision, God's love fills everything. The immensity of it. You want to know how big that is? In 1999, when they launched the Space Hubble telescope, they had some idea of how many stars and how many galaxies there were that we could see with the stuff that we saw. But once they figured out what was wrong with that $1 billion satellite and they sent up people to fix it, they pointed into what they called dark space, an open space in the universe. And after long exposures, they saw stars. And then closer perspective, they said, those aren't stars. Those are all galaxies. 200 billion galaxies. Galaxies, Milky Way galaxy, Andromeda's galaxy, galaxies filled with billions of stars, all moving in synchronization with gravity, with love holding in their place. The immensity of that love. That is ours. That is ours. This love that fills every cell of our body, waiting for us to claim it, waiting for us to claim our inheritance, the divine Christ within us, the sons and daughters of a living God, inheritors of the universe. How much love would that take? How big is that love? that all we know, all we see, all that we cannot see, whether it's infinitesimal or gigantic, is surrounded, penetrated, filled with, covered in, swimming in an ocean of love. This divine power that created us all. The absolutely huge, immense love. That Karen Drucker song that we've sung before, that says, how can anyone say you're, that song that, I wish I could just get the words right now. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything but beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you're anything but whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply we are connected to your soul. What a profound statement. The great love that we are, that exists in us, exists in the universe. It's no different. If at some point in time, and I'm sure that time is closer at hand than we know, when mankind accepts the truth of their divinity and begins living from that space, the idea of a nuclear explosion, poof. The love of one Christed being could absorb that, fill it up, pack it into a little bundle, and let it float away. Nuclear explosions are nothing compared to what love is. Those of you who are mothers and fathers know the deep, deep place in us that we have for our children. The truth that beyond all understanding. Please come in and just sit, dear. Just find a chair. It's just complete and total love. It's incredible. There's nothing my daughters can do, not a thing they can do, that can stop me from loving them. There's not a thing you and I can do, or any human can do, that would cause God to go, well, I guess I made a mistake. I'm going to have to get rid of this one. Doesn't happen. That second tenet of this church says that God's grace, God's divinity resides in each and every one of us. And not just the few that are in here, in this building, but in all of life. That's the immensity of it. That's the mystery of it. How that can happen. To know that is true. $200 billion galaxies. Do you have how many stars that would have to be? That's a bigger number than I know, man. All that love present in our lives. As Michael would say, it's the oneness aspect of our being, the singularity of God. So if you would with me right now, get comfortable. Take a deep breath with me. In and out. And one more. In and out. And find yourself on a desert island that has a mount on it, something very high point on it. And see yourselves up there. And as far as you can look in any direction, is this immense ocean, endless in its nature. Filled with life. And even if you could even see further than that and be an eagle in the sky, you would fly up, and as far as you could see would be the endless ocean, filled with that life, with that love. And it's not just in the larger ocean. It's in every drop of that ocean. As the water evaporates and goes up in the sky and forms clouds that pass over land and rain that love down upon it. That love just keeps circulating and circulating down over the land and into streams and creeks and rivers, lakes, and back into the ocean. The ever circulating love. The love that passes all understanding. The love that is the gift of grace for each and every one of us. That incredible love that lives deep within us as our I am presence, as the Christ within, waiting for us to bring it forward and share it with all the rest of life. This is our destiny. This is our divine purpose. As the unique expressions of God, the Mother, Father, the love, each of us has a unique gift to give to the world, to the universe. Ever expanding that love, ever filling every space with the eternal love of God. So if you would, slowly come back into the presence of this building and the presence of your home. Know that there is no place that God is not. God is everywhere. Wherever you are, God is. That this endless stream of life, this endless stream of love is forever flowing and will ever flow through us and everyone. If you would join me now in the prayer for protection, I think we can get to a place where we can close this ceremony. So if you would, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, odd is, and all is well.